Hi guys, and welcome back to the Quick Slant on Green Bay Packer Nation. And today is Prediction Friday. This prediction is probably not nearly as difficult as the game against the Ravens. I really thought if the Packers got the running game going, and they could have easily done so, I thought against the Ravens, because the Ravens don't have a good rushing defense. I thought we had a chance to win that game. Didn't even come close, not even close. So that makes this prediction much easier. The Steelers' defense is not that much worse than the Ravens. The Ravens have a far worse run defense than the Steelers do, and the Steelers are only, I think, two notches down as a pass defense. Of course, we talked last week about the fact that the Ravens are number one in pass defense. So I just don't see this Packer offense being able to generate much of any yardage against this Steelers defense. But I do think that the Packer defense, while they should slow things down, I don't think they'll be able to hold on for the long haul because they're going to be on the field too much. So let's kind of talk a little bit about the matchups, so we can kind of reflect on how these two teams actually match up in the statistics. Let's start with the one in which the Packers are most closely aligned with the Steelers, and that's the Steelers offense versus the Packers defense. And I know what you're thinking. The Packers defense has been really a sieve lately, and you're right. But if we look at the overall stats for the year, it does show that they're not doing that badly, and they haven't actually done poorly, I don't think, in the last couple of games, aside from when they just have been on the field too long. So the Steelers' rushing offense is 19th in the league, and then the Packers are 11th versus the run. We're, of course, coming up against Le'Veon Bell, and that Steeler offensive line is pretty relentless, I think. So that's going to be a challenge. I don't really expect the Steelers to do a lot of running. They're gonna have their run plays, and they're gonna have their run count that they're gonna try and do a certain number of snaps that they're gonna run the ball. But I expect much of this game is going to be on Roethlisberger's arm and on the shoulders of the wide receivers for the Steelers. So even though we're pretty good against the run, I don't see them doing a whole lot of running against us. Now, if that takes us to the other side of the coin, the passing game, the Steelers are 8th in passing, and the Packers are as an average are 18th in pass defense. The struggle here, of course, is that it's likely that we're not going to have Morgan Burnett again. It's likely that we're not going to have Kevin King again, and that makes our, in my estimation, makes our pass defense far weaker, especially against a veteran quarterback who just knows where the seams are, like Roethlisberger does. And Roethlisberger has played poorly at times in his career, but he's not doing so this year. They're really clicking as an offense. So that's going to be a real challenge for the Packers defenders to try and stop the Steelers' offensive passing attack. As far as scoring goes, the Steelers are 15th in the league, and the Packers' defense is 18th in the league as far as total points allowed goes. So it's pretty close there, but that's throwing in a couple of games where the Steelers just did really atrocious. The Steelers had 2 games where they were single digits in scoring, and that, of course, is going to bring their average down. It's going to bring their ranking down to 15 when it could be a top 12 defense, or top 12 passing offense, or a top 12 scoring offense, or maybe even in the top 10. I didn't do the numbers, but I don't really see that impacting this game. I I think our defense is going to be on the field so long that the Steelers' offense is just going to wear us down. And I don't mean for this to sound doom and gloom. It's just the way the numbers are working out. So let's flip over to the opposite side of the ball with the Steelers' defense matching up against the Packers' offense. The Steelers' defense is 8th against the run and 3rd against the pass. And the Packers, without Aaron Jones on the field, the Packers' running game is not good. And I think we lost Mays for this game too. We either lost Mays or he's questionable for this game. So that means that we're hoping that Ty Montgomery can get back in the game, which may mix things up. I mean, this Steelers defense may be preparing for our typical running attack that we saw against the Ravens, and all of a sudden Ty Montgomery takes the majority of snaps and he's a very different runner. I doubt that, but it's possible. But at any rate, the Packers are only 19th rushing in the league and up against the 8th run defense in the league, 22nd passing, which of course factors in several Aaron Rodgers games. So they're still 22nd in passing, and they're coming up against a team that's 3rd in the pass. We are 20th scoring, and we're coming up against a Steelers defense that ranks number 2 in scoring. And that's with they're only allowing an average of 16.5 points a game. I think I just don't see any way to read this matchup other than, especially since it's at the Steelers' home field, I don't see there's any way to read this matchup other than the Packers are really in for another thumping. And it's hard to see us go through that, but it's the way the team is right now. So we're going to have another chance to see whether Mike McCarthy can play call us into a win, whether our defense can find a way to put enough pressure on Roethlisberger to put us in a position to score some points that we couldn't get by a full football field drive from the 25 down. There's still opportunity, but we're going to have to really dial it up. So unfortunately, my prediction for this game is these Steelers are going to probably put up 32 points against us. And I think we can get it close enough to put 2 field goals on the board. So that's my prediction for this game. 32-6, the Steelers are going to win. And I hope, of course, as always, I hope I'm wrong. I think that there still is a little bit of hope in light of the fact that just a few games back, the Jacksonville Jaguars put up a thumping on the Steelers. It was one of the games in which the Steelers only scored in single digits. I think they had 9 points. Jacksonville's not got a good team either. I'm not sure if Blake Bortles played in that game, but he's a better quarterback at this point than Hundley is. I think Hundley's got more talent probably than Bortles, but Bortles' veteran ability would far outweigh that because Hundley's just been making so many mistakes in recent games. So that's the one hope I have is that if we can find a way to mimic what the Jaguars did to the Steelers, and that was also at the Steelers' home field, we may come out with a win in this game. 2 thoughts if we were to find a way to win this game. One, I still wouldn't be convinced that Hundley has made that next step. I really felt that he had made that next step when we beat the Bears, because the Bears, again, are a good defense. I really thought that he had made that step, but watching him play in the Ravens game makes me think that we're going to have to see several good games from Brett Hundley before I am convinced that it was not just a one-off or a few fortunate plays called, that's what's going to have to happen for me to be convinced that he's made another step in his growth as an NFL quarterback. So, and then the second thought, if the Packers win, I really think it's just too little, too late. The Vikings do have some tough games coming up. They play the Falcons on Sunday. They play who's next? The Falcons and then the Panthers, and then they meet the Bengals at the Vikings' home field, and that's really, if it weren't for the fact that it was the Bengals, if they had one more tough game, I would say that if we can pull off a win against the Steelers, there's still hope. Because if we can win against the Steelers, we should be able to win against the Buccaneers, and we should be able to win against the Browns. Then we're getting to the point where Aaron Rodgers might come back and could rack up a few more wins at the end of the season for us. Maybe tip the scales against the Vikings. And I can see the Vikings losing to the Falcons. I can see the Vikings losing to the Panthers, even though the Vikings are playing really good football right now. But I don't see them losing to the Bengals at home. I think the Bengals would be hard pressed to beat them, even if it was at the Bengals' home field. So I really think it's just probably too little, too late. But we'll see. Anything can happen. It's the NFL, and I wouldn't say stranger things have happened, but strange things such as this have happened before. So if you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe and hit that bell notification. Love to hear your comments on your thoughts for predictions for this game. Do you think that it's going to be a blowout for the Steelers? Do you think the Packers have a chance? And what do you think the score is going to be? And until next time, go Pack.